Hello, friends, and welcome to Sleep Tight Stories. Every week, we love celebrating our supporters with special shout-outs and birthday messages. It's a fun way for us to connect with all of you and learn about the amazing places you call home. Happy belated 5th birthday to Nova on October 19th. Mama, Daddy, Gigi, Tupelo, and Catcher love you so much. Wishing you a magical birthday. Happy belated 8th birthday to Omari, who turned 8 on October 13th. Mommy and Daddy love you so much. Happy belated 6th birthday to Mateo from Marietta, Georgia, on October 27th. Mama, Papa, Isaac, and Cammie think you're the coolest, most curious kindergartner around, and they love you so much. Happy belated birthday to Virginia Grace, who turned 5 on October 28th. Mom, Dad, Sophia, Antonia, and Ezra love to watch you rise, little star. Happy birthday. And happy belated 7th birthday, Everest. You bring so much joy to the world. Mama loves you as big as the mountains. Happy 7th golden birthday for Lauren. Your mom, dad, and soon-to-arrive sibling love you to the moon and back and are proud of your funny, kind, and confident personality, as well as your passion for football. They look forward to celebrating with you soon. Happy birthday to our youngest, Maceo, who is turning 3 years old on Halloween week, listening in with his siblings on Alexander Lane. Happy 5th birthday to Charlotte from Roanoke, Virginia. Mommy, Daddy, Elizabeth, Virginia, and William love you very much and are so proud of you and how your smile lights up the room. Happy 8th birthday to Priya from Mom, Dad, and Preston. Your curiosity and kind heart amaze them. You're an incredible 8-year-old. Happy 6th birthday to Elle Bell of Piney Point, Maryland. May you have an amazing roller skating party and continue your love of stories. Happy 9th birthday to Adeline Webster. Mom, Papa Bear, Brantley, and Harvey love you so much. Happy birthday to Wesley, who is turning 10 on October 31st. Love Mom and Dad. You are so thoughtful and creative, and they love spending time with you. And happy 5th birthday to our bright, energetic, and happy girl, Addie. We love you so much and can't wait to see what you learn this year in SK. Love Mom and Dad. Happy birthday to you all, and thank you for supporting the show. If you'd like to support our podcast and enjoy ad-free episodes, unlock bonus stories, and so much more, you can join Sleep Tight Premium. Subscribe in just 2 taps via the link in our show notes. Now, on to our story. Ghosty is a little ghost who is trying to get ready for Halloween with his classmates at Creakmore Academy. They are all working on the art of spooking, as Halloween is just around the corner. Ghosty's friends all seem to be doing a great job, but Ghosty is having some trouble. Will he ever be ready for Halloween? Ghosty's Little Boo. In the charming, fog-covered town of Misty Hollow, right at the edge of Fog Willow Woods, stood a rather ghoulish school, Creekmore Academy, for all things spooky. Every fall, young witches, tiny werewolves, pint-sized vampires, and all kinds of magical creatures gathered there to learn the fine art of spooking. After all, Halloween was just around the corner, and their spooky skills needed to be as sharp as ever. If you, a mere mortal, dared to visit Creekmore Academy, you'd see a shadowy building almost hidden behind tall, twisting trees. Dark ivy creeps up its stone walls, and old gargoyles peer out from above the windows. At the front stands a crooked, wrought iron gate that creaks loudly whenever students pass through. Inside the academy's maze of turrets, towers, and shadowy hallways, each classroom had enough flickering candlelight to cast eerie shadows that danced along the walls. The classroom doors are made from ancient wood, carved with mystical designs of swirling mist and strange symbols, and they complain loudly whenever opened. And at the end of a back hall of these creaky doors, framed by sticky cobwebs filled with spiders, was the classroom for the youngest of ghouls. In this very classroom was Ghosty, a friendly young ghost with a shy smile who, to his dismay, had a bit of a problem. Try as he might, Ghosty could not muster a single spooky boo. While his classmates practiced their ghostly wails and eerie sounds, he could only manage a quiet, cute, squeaky peep. It wasn't spooky at all, and certainly not the bone-chilling sound he'd hoped for. Around him, the other students were perfecting their scares, and they were very good. Zara, the little zombie, had a groan that could send a shiver through the room. Bones, the skeleton, rattled so loudly that he could shake an entire shelf of potions. And Wanda, the witch, had a cackle sharp enough to send shivers down your spine. Ghosty watched them, doing his best to join in, but his attempts only came out as quiet, gentle peeps. Maybe you just need more practice, Ghosty. Bones clattered cheerfully, his joints rattling as he demonstrated his newest, loudest creak. Ghosty nodded and tried again, but his voice barely rose above the level of a mouse's squeak. The more he tried, the more he worried he might be the least spooky ghost in Creekmore Academy. And with Halloween so close, that thought made him even more anxious. Halloween was the event that all the students prepared for, the night when they could finally show off their skills. And right now, Ghosty felt far, far from ready. "You can't give up trying," Wanda said, patting Ghosty with her long, bony hand. "I bet all you need is a bit more practice, and soon you'll be the spookiest one here." "I am trying, and I've been practicing every day at school," Ghosty replied, looking more sad than scared. Wanda thought for a moment. Maybe you could try what I do. When I make my cackle, I breathe right from my belly. I think it makes my laugh extra loud. Last year, I did it so well that a group of kids ran off and left their candy behind. I had enough treats to last for months. Ghosty took a deep breath, expanding his ghostly aura to nearly twice its normal size. He was so big, he looked like the biggest balloon ever. And then he let out a quiet, squeaky peep. He sighed, deflating back to his normal size. Peep wasn't spooky at all. Bones rattled his way over, sounding a bit like the percussion section in a concert band. He clattered with every step. "Maybe you just need to shake your whole body like I do," he demonstrated by wiggling his hips like he was using a hula hoop, then spun his arms in wide circles and twirled one foot in the air. Bones's entire skeleton shook, creating a loud clatter from his head to his toes. Ghosty and Wanda couldn't help but clap. What a great performance! Before Ghosty could try Bones's technique, a crackly, shrill voice came over the classroom speaker, hung from the ceiling by a single wire. It was the headmistress, Madame Grimble. As many of you lovely students know, Halloween is fast approaching. This year, we have something extra special in store for all of you. To make sure each of you is at your spookiest, we're holding a Halloween haunt-off to showcase all your skills. Those with the most chilling scares will earn a... The speaker crackled and cut out before anyone could hear what the prize was, leaving the classroom buzzing with excitement. But Ghosty didn't feel excited at all. As he floated down the hallway and out of Creekmore Academy, he felt like a small, pale shadow of his usually cheerful self. The evening fog had settled over Misty Hollow, and faint, wispy clouds floated across the moon. A distant werewolf howl echoed through the night. Ghosty drifted quietly down the winding path towards his home at the edge of Fog Willow Woods, watching as other students passed by, chatting happily about the haunt-off. His friends called out, "See you tomorrow," but he could only manage a small wave in reply. He floated slowly, almost sinking toward the ground. When he reached his home, an abandoned, slightly crumbly old cottage nestled under a gnarled oak tree, he floated through the door and glanced around. The windows were tall and narrow, letting in soft beams of moonlight that lit up the dust dancing in the air. The walls were lined with crooked, warped shelves holding glass jars filled with fireflies that glowed dimly, casting a warm light across the room. Ghosty usually found it comforting, but tonight it only made him feel lonelier. He drifted over to his favorite spot, a creaky old armchair in the corner, and sighed as he sank into it. Halloween was his favorite night of the year, but the thought of it now filled him with sadness. In past years, everyone had said his spooky voice would come naturally in time. After all, not every ghost was spooky right from the start. Most just needed to find their voice. But try as he might, Ghosty hadn't found his yet. That had been okay before, but now, with the haunt off, all the other students would see just how unspooky he really was. They might even laugh at him. No ghost wants to be funny. Curling up in the chair, he gazed out the window at the fog floating outside, wondering if he'd ever find his own way to spook. The next day, as Ghosty floated into Creekmore Academy, he could hear all the other creatures practicing their spooky sounds. Zara, the little zombie, was already warming up, her groans echoing down the hallway. Even though she was younger than him, she sounded much spookier. Ghosty's stomach did a little flip. As the day went on, Ghosty did his best to focus, but the haunt-off loomed over him like a dark cloud. In every class, students whispered excitedly about the competition. He tried to practice his boo in the hallway, taking deep breaths and puffing up his ghostly aura as much as he could. But every time he opened his mouth, the sound that came out was his usual cute and quiet peep. Ghosty's friends, noticing his struggle, gathered around him during snack time in the courtyard. Old stone statues and tombstones cast long shadows, and a chilly breeze rattled through the dead, crooked trees. "Don't worry, Ghosty, you've still got time," Wanda encouraged, twirling her fingers like she was casting a spell. "Maybe there's another way to find your spooky side." Bones, doing a quick shoulder rattle, chimed in, "You could try a different approach. Some ghosts are more silent and sneaky. Just one good, quiet boo can be really scary." Ghosty's friends cheered him on, and for a moment, he felt a bit of hope. But when he tried to go boo once again, only a cute squeak came out. His friends exchanged worried looks but kept their smiles, determined to stay supportive. Later that day, Ghosty drifted into the library, a shadowy maze of towering shelves lined with old, musty, dust-covered books. He found a quiet spot near a worn armchair tucked beside a broken window that looked out onto the gnarled wood. Here, he could practice without anyone watching. As Ghosty practiced his boo in the quiet shadows of the library, he heard a faint rustling from behind a nearby stack. Startled, he turned around, but saw nothing. A drafty breeze blew through the shelves, making the candles flicker wildly. Just then, he saw Madame Grimble floating down the aisle toward him. "Ghosty, dear, I've heard about your struggles with finding your spooky voice," she said kindly. "Remember, every ghost has their own unique way of being spooky. Some are loud, yes, but others are unexpected." Ghosty looked at her hopefully. "So maybe I don't have to be as loud as the others?" Madame Grimble nodded. "Exactly. Sometimes the quietest scares are the most memorable. Perhaps, instead of trying to be loud, you could focus on being surprising." Ghosty thought about this, realizing his instinct to turn had been a natural reaction. Maybe his quiet, sudden appearance could work in his favor. He decided to test it. The next day, Ghosty didn't practice loud boos or big jumps like his classmates. Instead, he focused on his own strengths. He practiced floating silently around corners, appearing just when least expected, and vanishing back into the shadows with perfect timing. Ghosty's friends noticed something different about him. He seemed calmer, more confident, and spookier. Zara and Bones exchanged glances as they watched Ghosty blend seamlessly with the shadows of the hallway, reappearing just long enough to make them jump. The night of the haunt-off finally arrived, and Ghosty's friends gathered backstage with him. "You've got this, Ghosty," Bones cheered, giving him a rattly thumbs up. Ghosty smiled. He wasn't as nervous as before. He wasn't loud, but he felt ready to surprise everyone in his own quiet, spooky way. When it was his turn, Ghosty floated onto the stage. The audience leaned forward, expecting to hear a great big boo. But instead, he drifted silently from one side to the other, almost disappearing in the shadows. Just as they started to wonder where he'd gone, he appeared right at the edge of the stage, his voice a quiet, perfectly timed peep. The crowd gasped. Ghostly's quiet, gentle peep is different from all the other spooky sounds, but it's so unexpected that it gives everyone shivers. The crowd loudly claps, startled smiles spreading across his classmates' and teachers' faces. Even Madame Grimble, watching from the side, gave him an approving nod. Ghosty floated off the stage, glowing with pride. His boo certainly wasn't the loudest, but it was undoubtedly one of the most memorable. As he rejoined his friends, Zara flashed a wide, toothless grin. Bones rattled his jaw in a skeletal smile, and Wanda tipped her hat with a twinkle in her eye. "You did it, Ghosty," Zara cheered, giving him a gentle zombie high five. "I think that was the spookiest scare of the night." Bones clattered his approval, his grin wide. "Yeah, you surprised all of us. That's the best kind of spooky." Ghosty felt more confident than ever and felt like he had found his place at Creekmore Academy. He might not have a booming boo, but he'd learned that his unique way of being spooky was just as special, and sometimes even scarier. As they all left the stage, Ghosty floated a little higher, not just because he'd made his friends proud, but because he was proud of himself. As the students drifted home under the pale moonlight, Ghosty knew he'd always remember this Halloween as the one when he finally found his own ghostly voice. And that is the end of our story. Good night. Sleep tight.